They're here, our very first 25-watt wireless chargers for iPhone. Let me show them to you and how much faster they really are. Real quick, before we get into it, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest Apple news and reviews, hit that subscribe button. With me here, I have two of the three new 25-watt Qi 2.2 chargers from Belkin. I'm going to walk you through each of these devices, show you my real-world testing results on how fast they are, and even talk about how the heat can impact your battery. Let's dive in. As I said, I have two of the three here. Specifically, I have the UltraCharge Pro 3-in-1 dock and the UltraCharge 3-in-1 folding dock. There's also a 25-watt 2-in-1 folding dock that lacks the Apple Watch charger on the back. Let me know in the comments how many of you use wireless charging, and if so, which one? Let's start with the UltraCharge Pro 3-in-1. In the box, you'll have the charger itself, a USB to USB-C cable, and a 45-watt power brick. The dock itself looks very familiar. It reminds me of the existing Boost Charge Pro that has a similar dark gray soft touch bottom and a large chrome metal arm. This one, particularly because it's a 3-in-1 and partially because it's higher wattage, is definitely a bit bigger though. The watch puck on the back is a fast charging puck, which means any modern Apple Watch can get 80% in only 45 minutes. One unique thing here is the fact that it has a fan hidden behind the puck. This fan has a toggle at the bottom where you can turn it on or off, which will have an impact on your charging speed. The top is adjustable so you can prop it up straight vertically 90 degrees in any angle for standby mode or push it all the way back completely flat. When flat, it'll also work for things like AirPods 4 or other Qi devices that lack magnets. The second charger is a folding charger. This one is super cool to me. I love this for travel for sure. This one is matte white with a silicone pad on the bottom and as well on the front for charging. A pivoting Apple Watch puck comes out of the back, and there's a pad underneath for AirPods or Qi devices. It too comes with a 45-watt power brick and a USB-C to USB-C cable. This does lack the fan, which means its charging speeds will be a bit slower than the Pro desktop model. That said, let's look at the actual charging speeds. All of these new chargers are using Qi2.2.1. It's a new wireless charging standard built on Apple's MagSafe. I did another entire deep dive on it in another video, which I've linked here for you to check out. Now, these can charge at up to 25 watts of power, while the older Qi2 standard only reached 15 at its peak. Until now, there has only been one 25-watt charger for iPhone, Apple's latest MagSafe puck, which was released in the fall of 2024 alongside the iPhone 16. Currently, Apple hasn't confirmed any devices that support Qi 2.2.1 25-watt charging, but I was able to verify that while running the beta of iOS 26, my iPhone 16 Pro was able to charge at these higher speeds. In my test, I saw speeds regularly peaking at about 24.5 watts when measured with a USB-C power meter. It's my understanding that iOS 26 will bring 25-watt Qi 2.2.1 support to the entire iPhone 16 lineup. I think the real question is, though, how that newfound speed compares to other charging methods. I've been testing the new Belkin UltraCharge Pro with and without the fan against a 15-watt Qi 2 charger and a 45-watt USB-C PD cable. I use an iPhone 16 Pro with iOS 26 Beta 7, clean energy charging off, optimized charging off, and no charging limit set. Let's analyze some data and I'll give you guys the key takeaways. First, the performance is amazing. It took about 25 minutes for both the actively cooled Qi 2.2.1 charger and the wired charger to reach 50%. Technically, the USB-C PD cable was a hair faster by a minute or so, as it happened in between my 5-minute check-ins. I also want to point out that the charging with the fan off, it wasn't slow, but it was notably slower than with the fan on. In fact, it took 10 to 15 minutes longer to hit 50%. When we look out further, it took just about 50 minutes with the fan on to hit 80%, and it took almost 80 minutes with the fan off, literally half an hour longer. What also happened though was that with the fan off, my phone stopped charging at 80%. This was because the phone itself got a bit warm. Not crazy hot, but just a bit warm. Apple notes in a help doc that newer phones may stop charging in certain situations when the temperature increases to preserve battery health. If it gets warm and charges past 80%, it can potentially hurt your battery and shorten its lifespan. It stayed on 80% for almost 2 hours total before I just gave up. It was 45 minutes of it just sitting there at 80%. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but the big benefit here is the fan and the faster charging. I actually hit 100% in less than 2 hours with the fan on. When using a USB-C cable, it was almost completely in parity with the 25-watt charging. Even though the cable can technically charge slightly faster, it doesn't sustain those speeds, again because of heat. This wireless charger is able to keep higher speeds wirelessly because it's being actively cooled. Of course, if we compare it to any of the 15-watt Qi2 or MagSafe chargers on the market, those are more in line with Qi2.2.1 and the fan off. They're a bit slower. The good news is the fan is silent. When it was sitting here on my desk, I didn't even notice. I had to put my hand behind it to feel for the airflow to confirm that it was on. Heat is actually a big problem with charging. Higher charging speeds immediately means more heat. And heat, as we know, is detrimental to battery health and efficiency. I think we're going to see many more actively cooled chargers coming to market to compensate for that. Plus, it's rumored iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max will include new vapor chamber cooling, which I think will increase performance further. The fan, iOS charging features like optimized charging, all will help keep your battery health up while charging wirelessly. Wire charging is about 90 to 95% efficient, depending on the quality of the charger, the cable, and even the length. OG MagSafe was around 75 to 80%, and the new Qi2.2.1 standard is said to be more efficient, likely sitting then around 85, maybe even 90, thanks to the new magnetic power profile and reduced heat waste. All in all, I'm very happy with that. These are both incredibly good chargers and fantastic first examples of well-performing Qi2.2.1 fast chargers. They're delivering wired performance, all at the convenience of wireless, let alone the premium design found on the UltraCharge Pro 3-in-1 desk charger. I'm sure we're going to see many more Qi2.2.1 chargers coming to market, but if you're eager to try one now, I put links for both of these in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more Apple news and reviews.